whenever you're ready, Alison.
Yes, I will be doing that now. And I think, Will, however, you should keep your video on because otherwise it looks not as good. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Olivier, welcome.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, we're about to start now, so if you could kindly just mute and turn off your camera, we'd appreciate that.
We do.
Thank you.
So I'm now starting the webinar.
Ambassador Mriswet, you can turn off your mic and camera until we invite you. Thank you very much. Good morning and good evening, and welcome to the Africa Smart City Network Seminar. We will be starting shortly. Please do join. If you give us 1 minute, we will begin the program. Dear WeGO members, partners, and friends, good afternoon from Seoul, and welcome to the final event in WeGO Smart City Month, June 2021. This is the Smart Africa Smart Cities Network Seminar entitled Strengthening Awareness of the Need for Transformational Leadership, Regional Cooperation, and Digital Skills for Smart and Sustainable Communities in Africa. The webinar today will be conducted in English and French with some simultaneous interpretation available. Please make sure that you have updated Zoom to the latest version in order to access the interpretation audio channel. You can click on the globe you can also opt to mute the original English audio and listen only to the language of interpretation. Also, kindly use the rename function to change your name to full name with your affiliation in parentheses. We encourage you to participate actively in the webinar and submit your questions to the speakers via the Q&A function. You can also use the chat box for additional comments and greetings. Today's webinar will be recorded with its original audio, and you'll be able to access the recording, including the presentation materials, after the event through our webpage. My name is William Sheffers, lead on city partnerships, and I will be taking you through the program today. There will be 3 main sessions, beginning with the opening remarks, moving to presentations by our subject matter experts in session 2, and closing with a panel discussion and Q&A. The purpose of this webinar is to present WeGo's AFSCN initiative and secure support, share best practice, and facilitate discussion on the successes and challenges in leadership, capacity, and cooperation in enabling smart cities in Africa, and to gather feedback from stakeholders on their requirements for the network. Allow me to invite Mr. Kyungyo Lee, Secretary General at the WeGO Secretariat, to deliver the opening remarks on the occasion of today's webinar.
Good morning. We are about to launch a historical seminar today, if I may say so. We are about to create a network for smart cities in Africa. I'm very happy to be here today with many ambassadors from African countries and mayors of key African cities. Thank you for your participation. Your presence here means a lot for this initiative. We cannot forget the Smart African Alliance and Director General Kone and WeGO's Regional Director AFSCN, without whom we couldn't come this far. I welcome all the distinguished guests and dear members of WeGO to this wonderful meeting today. As I always enjoy saying, a smart city is a happy city for smart people. We build smart cities to solve problems and to be happy. Smart people cannot be happy in dumb cities or ugly cities. The current COVID-19 testifies that smart technology and digitization of government is the key to the fast and efficient response. The relevance of smart cities in Africa is growing strong. 60% of the population of Africa will live in urban areas by 2030, and by the end of the century, 13 out of 20 most populous urban areas in the world will be located in Africa. This brings many urban challenges like pollution, transportation, housing, security, etc. They should be addressed for the people to get happy. A blessing in disguise is that COVID-19 has forced the cities in the region to accelerate the process of digitalization. WeGO is strongly committed to the development of smart cities in Africa. That's why we established a regional office in Abuja last January. Membership in this region is growing fast as well, and now we think it's time to introduce a new initiative to the region, namely the African Smart City Network. When we build or improve a smart city, we need 4 crucial things: technology, public-private partnerships, open mind, and networking. Well, I have no time to elaborate, but let me emphasize the networking. International collaboration and networking matter. It's because smart city projects are not one-off, but evolutionary, meaning we need to continuously build and improve our cities. It also means that we need many friends and partners. We have to learn from each other. The African Smart City Network aims to be a platform that facilitates the smart transformation through knowledge sharing and project collaboration. We like to contribute to the construction of the single digital market or community in Africa. The first WeGO Africa Mayoral Conference will be organized when the COVID virus is gone, where we officially launch the AFSCN with concrete action plans. We're envisaging an annual African Smart City Expo after that. Lastly, I would like to encourage the cities in the region to join the network and work together to shape the future for smart and happy cities in Africa. I hope you will enjoy the seminar today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary General Lee. I now invite Mr. Lassina Kone, Director General of the Smart Africa Alliance, to deliver his opening remarks. Before taking the role of heading Smart Africa in 2019, Mr. Kone was the advisor to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire in charge of digital transformation and public reforms. Subsequent to that, he was the advisor to the President for 7 years. Mr. Kone is a professional in the ICT industry with over 25 years of experience in telecoms, satellite, and intelligent transport systems. We welcome you, Director General.
Mr. Young Yuli, Secretary General of WeGO. Her Excellency, Ambassador Yasmin Amri Suaid. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am honored to be delivering my opening remark on this session today, which talks about the transformative power of leadership and partnership in the development of Africa's smart city. As Africa's urban population grows increasingly large, many cities are turning to technology and smart city solutions to build a more livable environment and improve the delivery of public services. These initiatives have the potential to expand access to city services, improve public engagement, and spur economic growth. Africa's growing urban populations require us to start thinking progressively about how people live in urban area. We need to look at the integrated and technology-driven way for people to manage safety, transportation, waste management, and those aspects of everyday life. Urbanization is a powerful driver of economic development and social mobility. It is also a catalyst for technological progress. As we see in cities globally, Africa is no exception. We are already home to the world's fastest growing city. It is estimated that half of the Africans will be living in the cities by 2030. This irreversible trend is fundamentally positive for our continent's prosperity. At Smart Africa, we are convinced that important advantages for cities can be secured through a digitally enabled integrations of their physical, social, and other technological assets. The exponential space of technology will continue, and that pace has tremendous potential to affect the quality of life of our citizens in the cities across Africa. In 2017, Smart Africa launched a blueprint for sustainable smart cities for Africa's championed by the Republic of Rwanda. It provides an overview for policymakers, investors, and citizens on how Africa's smart cities will be developed. The blueprint's key message is to integrate available technology at every level of urban management. At the same time, knowledge-oriented leadership approaches are required to ensure that we are able to deliver the best possible smart cities for our citizens. Although new technology can connect us and deliver data, cities won't become smarter without smart leadership. Smart leadership is the kind of leadership that is able to deal with the complexity of the ecosystem and the culture. In addition to being able to synchronize input and output in the smart city space to produce social economic benefit for all. Smart leadership facilitates collaborations, uses strategic thinking, practices foresight activities, and builds alliance and partnership. Agile rethinking and leadership are required around the provision of a smart health, smart waste management, and social care. This means taking into account the need of a growing young populations and the vulnerable older populations at the same time. We have seen positive development in smart cities across Africa, with Smart Africa having supported the development of national strategies in Ghana, Guinea, Benin, Rwanda, and Tunisia. It is a result of a good mix between top-down and bottom-up leadership, in addition to the use of modern technology, specifically, success requires that leaders organize, engage, and experiment to unleash the potential of smart cities. I urge us all to embrace the power of partnership in the drive for smart cities in Africa. This ecosystem is complex. This is the space where we begin to see a mixture of previously unrelated elements. It is the conversion between the digital and the physical world. Some of these is seen in the use of sensors, wireless networks, cloud-based computing, and real-time data sharing to optimize the experience of citizens and the sustainability of city infrastructure. All these require funding and capacity building. Funding smart cities initiatives, which are typically characterized by large upfront technology cost, is often a persistent challenge for city governments and can be even more difficult for projects targeting low-income or hard-to-reach population. Without dedicated financing mechanism and funding sources for inclusive initiatives, cities can struggle to incentivize solutions developers, technology providers, and other private sector actors to deploy solutions that can benefit historically marginalized groups. This can be alleviated by creating a strong private-public partnership to ensure that the private sector plays an active role in developing Africa's smart city. Smart cities partnership create the opportunity to mobilize action behind a common goal and to build capacity to deliver shared smart solutions, smart city solutions. Africa needs new model of partnership. We need a public-private partnership that create a shared visions for smart cities, bringing together leaders from city governments, national governments, health services, universities, businesses, social enterprises, and the community sector, among others. In addition to this partnership must always include citizens to ensure successful outcome. We look forward to exciting and engaging discussion today on practical case studies for Africa's smart cities. Through dialogues like this, we are able to interrogate existing ideas and develop new thinking, which will help us to get better outcome from our smart cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director General Cornet. I'm happy to announce that WeGO and Smart Africa have just entered into a Memorandum of Understanding focusing on, among other things, developing and providing capacity building programs, organizing knowledge sharing events, and conducting research and development of smart city related plans, blueprints, toolkits, and data sets. Through this partnership, we hope to continue raising the awareness of smart cities in Africa and delivering better services for our members. I now welcome Her Excellency Yasmin Amri Sued, Ambassador of Rwanda in Korea, to deliver congratulatory remarks. We thank Ambassador Amri Sued for her instrumental role in supporting the Africa Smart City Network initiative and connecting us to Smart Africa. Before her posting to Korea, she spent 4 years in Dubai helping set up the diplomatic mission and has experience in the private sector as well, serving as a consultant responsible for empowering local chambers of commerce across Rwanda by creating programs to decentralize control to local decision makers. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be with you today. Mr. Kyung-Yu Lee, Secretary General of WeGO, Mr. Lassina Kone, Director General of Smart Africa Alliance, Mr. Tata Fada Mapungo, Mayor of Gaborone City Council, and Mrs. Saud Ben Aderahim, Mayor of Tunis Municipality, distinguished participants, good morning to some of you and good afternoon to the ones who are this side of the world. Thank you very much for having me and giving me the floor to be here. It's quite exciting to be with you today. It's an extension of so many conversations, and it shows the focus of WeGO to get to implementation and always continuing to focus on action. The theme of this seminar, strengthening awareness of the need for transformational leadership, regional cooperation, digital skills for smart, sustainable communities in Africa, couldn't be timelier. I think the pandemic has reinforced our conviction to all of us, actually, that themes like transformation, leadership, regional cooperation, digitalization, smartification are urgent and not need to be done, but are urgent to be addressed. With the well-planned and diversified participants I saw today, I am very excited to follow this seminar and look forward to learning from all of you. As you may know, our capital city, Kigali, joined WeGO in 2016, and we had the opportunity to be member of the 18 EXCO group. And I believe this was just the beginning. And I would like to commit once again to the WeGO Secretariat that is in Seoul with me here, that you can count on me, and it's definitely a beginning of an interesting path. I take also the opportunity to highlight the fact that even with the pandemic, WeGO has done an incredible job in expanding and continuing to achieve regardless of the difficult situations. My first conversation with the Secretary General was to really ask about the members, because it always comes back to how many people do you interact with? And like Mr. Lee said, it's really very important on how can you network, because it's a continuous moving and adjusting context you work in. And I was very happy to see that regardless of the new conditions, you increased the number of cities that are part of the network, you increased the number of private sector partners. And this is really exciting going forward. The opening of the 5th regional office in Abuja is a strong statement of your commitment to work on the continent. And the fact that you just highlighted that you entered in a MOU with the Smart Africa Alliance, which is a critical player for the whole continent and the world at large, shows a really convincing approach and openness on how to do what you're doing. So I am here more to listen than to talk, so I will make it short, but I would like to really thank you and thank all of your efforts to make this happen in quite a short time. I look forward to the return of the annual Diplomacy for Homo Sapiens Cities annual dinner. I know we have social distancing, but I'm hoping that we can resume it, because I guess it was one of my preferred events. And I'm really looking forward to a bit more discussion in that area. So I thank you again, and looking forward to follow the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Amri-Swed, for the kind words. Next, I invite His Worship Tata Father Mapongo, Mayor of Gaborone, to deliver his remarks today on the AFSCN initiative and the work his city is doing to improve the quality of life for its citizens. The mayor is a graduate in system analysis and design and strategic management, and also co-founded Bayport Financial Services in 2005, where he served as chief executive. He has also served as head of risk and strategy at the Botswana Building Society, and has also worked as a system analyst for the Government Computer Bureau. Among the many initiatives for the city, the mayor aims to establish Gaborone as a clean, safe, and smart city, focusing on providing access to internet for all citizens. The floor is yours, Mayor Mapongo.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies, Mr. Lee, the Secretary General, Your Excellencies, Dr. Kone, the Director General for Smart Africa Alliance. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning or good afternoon. Let me start by appreciating, the invite that you have extended to us. And I want to believe that once the deliberations of today have actually been concluded, Gaborone City will be part and a member of the WeGO. Let me start by, the background, giving you the background of our country, and then I'll move, to, the city, what we have actually done in terms of adopting technology. Botswana, as most of you might be aware, is a signatory to the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development and subscribes to all 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Like all nations of the world, Botswana has been adversely affected by COVID, which was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization in 2020. As an upper middle income country, which is aspiring to take a leap to high income status by 2036, we found ourselves having to deal with declining economy across all sectors. And the most reasonable interventions to influence economic recovery was found to border around information communication technology, which is ITC. In pursuit of the economic revitalization, the government of Botswana has formulated an economic recovery transformation plan called ERTP, which entails projects and activities which will have immediate and high economic returns. Gaborone, with a population of 300,000, we are not a big city, is the national capital. And it was appropriate that it becomes the epicenter of all transformative innovations through the Smart City initiatives. It is also opposite to note that in 2018, Gaborone was selected by the United Nations as a pilot site for implementation and monitoring of Sustainable Development Goal 11, which seeks to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The Smart City initiatives. As a way to mitigate against the effects of COVID-19, the government of Botswana designed an online application called Be Safe, for which purpose is to facilitate control of interzonal movement through issuing of travel permits across regional zones, as well as contact tracing in the event of widespread infection. The application is used by both public and the private institution to register visitors and regular users of facilities such as shops and public offices and religious institutions. What have we done, as the City Council? Automation of council services. To reduce public mobility, Gaborone City Council is in the process of automating some of the services to make them available online. Some of the services that will be immediately automated include property rates payment, building material levy, online construction permit system, includes submission of architectural drawings, plans, perusal of building permits, customer feedback. More services will have to be automated in the near future, which then include physical planning processes, licensing processing, self-housing agency loan repayments. Council will also use a platform or platforms such as websites, mobile application, and USSD codes. One of the key areas that we are looking at is to monitor the functioning of our streetlights, the functioning and the uptime of our streetlights. If we can get that automated so that we can know which streetlights are not functioning at a given point from a central position, that will be, a milestone to celebrate. Issues like, reporting of, potholes, online. Those are some of the things that we are looking at so that we can, provide, solutions at the quickest, possible time. We have, as Gaborone City Council, launched at the beginning, September 2020, with a collaboration of fiber network service provider, provided free Wi-Fi hotspots in 10 areas around the city for public use, free Wi-Fi. And we intend to increase this, in due course to allow the public and the community of Gaborone to access free Wi-Fi. We are currently, together with the Parliament of Botswana, have actually embraced digitization transformation agenda by holding meetings virtually. Other government agencies have also adopted remote engagement through various platforms, and physical meetings have been minimized. This reduces the chances of government official contracting COVID and also enhances efficiency in service provision. The cost of engagement have also significantly, gone down. We have to appreciate that COVID has actually introduced the new normal. And the new normal is that people actually work from home. And I think going forward, that's probably going to continue. Hence, it calls for technology to be used. And technology in this case has now become an imperative. Smart Botswana. Botswana aims to take advantage of the opportunities presented by the fourth industrial revolution and move the country towards knowledge-based economy without leaving anyone behind. Smart Botswana is an online initiative that has the following as its focus areas: leaving no one behind, connect the country and include all Botswana to build internal markets, digitization and innovation, create data-driven products and services that leverage on digital technology, competing globally, prioritize and invest in ideas and compete in global markets, build a knowledge workforce, provide knowledge and tools to compete internationally. The government of Botswana has an online portal called OneGov. This was established to ensure that applications can actually be done online, which include, amongst others, the common law and customary land rights applications, internship placements. You will appreciate that we have quite a sizable youth population. So we do place them on jobs as they become available. Driver's license and vehicle permits applications and other agricultural services. Gaborone would like to turn itself into a learning hub, a health hub, Those are some of the dreams that we have. Gaborone has entered to this end in partnership with the University of Botswana on areas that can actually transform the socio-economic status of the city into a learning hub. The Council will continue to forge partnerships with other learning institutions to create a network for learning and skills acquisition. Easing of traffic congestions around the city. Traffic congestion has been found to be a bane of African cities because as much as it undermines efforts towards road safety, it also impacts negatively on the ease of doing business because a significant amount of productive time is spent on the road. To address traffic congestion, the city is currently installing smart traffic lights, as well as modernization of the provision of centralized traffic control. So these smart traffic lights will be centrally controlled, and they will be able to sense traffic as it builds up on a particular road and allow the traffic to flow. There is also construction of widening interchange along roads, arteries. By the time these projects are completed, there will be improved movements within the city, connecting residential and commercial areas, and improve access, healthcare, education facilities, and other social amenities. The city illumination, something that I alluded to earlier. Gaborone thrives to attain and maintain international standards on city illumination, which has been found to be one of the indicators of safety and security. The city has a total of about 25,000 streetlights along both internal and major roads, and floodlights, which total about 71, which we are continuing to increase the illumination in the city. In terms of security, we do have improved security and safety in the city, and which are actually supported by both the Botswana Defence Force and the police, together with our own bylaw officers from the council. Use of solar as a way of contributing towards a green city. Gaborone City has adopted a position to use solar in all its street lights and offices, going forward. Water recycling. The city for some time has been using grey water salvaged from the sewage ponds to water plants and some green areas. The water utilities is working on strategies to recycle and use of wastewater, something that we would want to be assisted on, going forward. Let me, at this point in time, thank you for listening, and I hope to get a lot in terms of the deliberations that are about to start. And as I did mention, we will be happy as a city to be part of WeGO. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Mapongo, for that address. I will now begin a presentation about WeGO and the AFSCN. WeGO is a membership-based international association for local governments, smart tech solution providers, and national and regional institutions committed to the transformation of cities into smart and sustainable cities. To achieve its vision of smart and sustainable cities for all, WeGO serves as a global platform to foster international exchange, cooperation, and networking among members and partners. Founded by 50 cities in 2010, WeGO currently has 213 members, Our present city is Seoul, with 7 additional vice president cities and 5 regional offices. WeGo's operational channels include the executive committee meeting as well as the triennial General Assembly, of which the 5th General Assembly will be held in October this year. WeGo members are dispersed in various regions. WeGo creates synergy between stakeholders in different areas through its regional network activities, including the recently launched Latin America Smart City Network, the China-Japan-Korea Cooperation, and the ASEAN Smart Cities Network. WeGo's main activities include knowledge sharing and networking, capacity building, knowledge building and research, and project implementation. So what is the Africa Smart City Network and why do we need it? According to the UN e-government survey, many countries in Africa have improved their performance on the index that assesses online service delivery, human capital, and telecommunications infrastructure. However, as a continent, Africa remains the poorest performer, falling considerably below the world average. In February this year, WeGo gathered its members for a regional strategy development workshop, where we divided the discussion into groups focused on our 5 main regions. What you see on the screen is some of the ideas that came out of the discussion on Africa, where we looked at the opportunities, challenges, brainstormed practical solutions, and talked about what would be needed to enable these. One key outcome of the workshop was that a regional approach is important for WeGo to carry out its mission. Why is a regional approach important? It enables a nuanced understanding of SMART and the different ways that sustainability is focused on. It helps us to respect the different development trajectories of cities while building trust and raising awareness. The AFSCN seeks to link WeGo's action to the African context, engage regional market players, and find practical and scalable solutions. This way we can learn and share what works and what doesn't, creating impact by sharing the best practice and solution within and across regions. The AFSCN is envisioned as an open-ended regional network of city and other local governments across Africa that will serve as a platform to exchange knowledge and foster cooperation on smart city development. Through conversations and collaboration with our members, WeGo aims to identify the needs and requirements of cities, towns, and villages in Africa, and provide the right solutions through its existing framework of programs. We welcome all organizations that are committed to development in the region to be part of this initiative. I hope that for many of you learning about WeGo for the first time, this is a great opportunity to connect with us beyond this seminar. So what's the next step? We continue the conversation, 1, as we will do in this seminar and beyond. 2, we build partnerships for effective programming. And 3, we create and document data and knowledge related to the urban challenges faced in Africa. Do look out for more information about the network's activities in the coming weeks. For now, and speaking of continuing the discussion, we would like to get your input on a few key questions relevant to today's subject. My colleague Todo will start a poll that should appear on your screen, asking you 3 questions. 1, what is the main challenge that your city is facing or will face in the near future? Which skill is most important in enabling smart city development in Africa? What types of activities would you like to see WeGo and its partners engage in with your cities? Please select 1 answer per question and we'll give you a few moments to complete that. I see civic participation, energy and environment are already getting a lot of answers as far as priority areas. In terms of skills, people are looking at leadership, community engagement, urban planning, very big. And then in terms of activities, capacity building and project implementation are also getting a lot of responses. We'll give you a few more seconds to share your input. Okay, thank you for your participation. Todo, I think you can go ahead, maybe just give them 10 more seconds, and then you can end and share the results. Okay, please go ahead, Todo. So I hope that we thank you for your input. This is very important information for us as we continue to do our programming and hold our discussions today and going forward. Let's begin session 2, exploring the status, opportunities, and success factors for enabling smart cities in Africa. We have 4 fantastic speakers to share the work they are doing in Africa, covering topics of leadership, digital skills, regional cooperation, and citizen-centric innovation. First up, I welcome Dr. Ralph Oyini Mbona, Head of Digital Transformation, Services and Innovation at Smart Africa Alliance. Dr. Oyini, please take it away.
Thank you very much, William, and thank you to the whole WeGO community. Really fantastic work that is happening here. And just on behalf of Smart Africa, we're excited about the MOU that we signed with WeGO, and we're excited about the work that we're going to do together for the development of the continent. So let me try to share my screen here. I prepared like a small presentation. And please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it. Go ahead.
All right, fantastic. So I will be presenting about unlocking Africa's potential through smart and sustainable cities and the key role of leadership. And I will be presenting also a little bit about Smart Africa for those who don't know the organization. Smart Africa started in 2013, really. It was 7 heads of state that understood the importance of using ICT for the socio-economic development of the continent. And they signed what we call the Smart Africa Manifesto. That is also like a manifesto that was endorsed by the African Union in January 2014. The Smart Africa Manifesto principles are based on 5. The manifesto is based on 5 key principles. The first one is to put ICT at the center of the national socio-economic development agenda of our member states. The second one is to improve access to ICT, especially broadband. The third one is to improve accountability, efficiency, and openness through ICT. The fourth one is a very interesting one, is to put the private sector first, because as Smart Africa, we really believe that you need the private sector to work with the governments in order to develop the continent. Then the fifth one is to leverage ICT to promote sustainable development. So the leadership of Smart Africa is a leadership from our heads of state, the heads of state of our member states and governments. We have actually now 32 member states representing a market of over 800 million people. And you can see them here. The chairman of the Smart Africa board that is composed of the heads of state is President Kagame. And the headquarters of Smart Africa is based in Kigali, Rwanda. So the vision of Smart Africa is clear and ambitious. What we want to do is we want to transform Africa into a single digital market by 2030. And we have 3 focus areas that you can see here on the left side based on digital infrastructure. The second focus area is to promote and facilitate doing business and investing across Africa. The third focus area is accelerate the birth and development of a digital societies. This is where you see digital e-services. And then we have cross-cutting activities, we have services, we have building blocks. These, all these different projects that we are doing at Smart Africa is to get to these outcomes, which is job creation. And I saw like on the little survey, the short survey that was done earlier, that unemployment is a big concern. Well, for us too, of course. So we have job creation, sustainable development, cashless economy, citizen participation, transparency, trust, and accountability. So this is a little bit about Smart Africa. So now let's dive into the subject of smart cities and communities in Africa. Well, as the Secretary General of WeGO said it well, urbanization in Africa is progressing rapidly. When you look at the population the projection of the population in cities, you can see this exponential growth. And this exponential growth comes with a lot of challenges. You're going to have more cars, so you're going to have mobility as a challenge. You're going to have water loss, so you're going to have as a challenge providing water to all these people that moved into the cities. You have challenges with energy consumption, pollution. I've seen also in the survey the environment was a key element into smart cities. Then you have poverty and you have cost of health and social services as well. That will be a challenge. Now, specifically in Africa, as it was said, I think also previously, Africa is behind. Let's be honest, in terms of smart cities development, Africa is behind and we have to do better. And but here you can see like the 10 cities that are kind of leading the way when it comes to the transformation of our cities into smart cities. You have Accra in Ghana, Abidjan, Alger, Cairo, Casablanca, Johannesburg in South Africa, Kigali in Rwanda, Nairobi, Kenya, Lagos, and Tunis. Those cities are becoming really the models for, or the reference for other cities in Africa to develop into smart cities. So this is like a great time because like although Africa is behind, like our leaders really understand the importance of smart cities, and we can see at Smart Africa all the efforts that are being deployed in order to transform our cities into smart cities. Of course, Africa is not one country. Yes, Africa is several countries, 54, 55 countries, different regions, 5 main regions, and each region will come with its own specificities, its own challenges, and this is something to keep in mind. Although the challenges kind of look the same across different cities, across different regions, you can tell that the ranking in terms of priorities is different. When you look at Accra from Ghana in West Africa, mobility is the #1 issue there, right? By mobility, what we understand is the public transportation of people, how people go from home to work, etc. Then you have like a challenge of infrastructure, you have utilities, environmental management, safety. Safety is also like a key challenge. So this is for Accra. When you look at Tunis and the top 5 challenges in Tunis, which is in North Africa, the #1 that will come is e-governance. Then you will have again mobility, infrastructure, utilities, environment management. Then when you look at Kigali, Rwanda, the first challenge that comes is also mobility. Then you have infrastructure, utilities, environmental management, services to citizens is also very important. Johannesburg, in South Africa, from Southern Africa, you have safety and security, that is the top one. Then you have mobility, then you have infrastructure, social infrastructure, environmental management. So for those that lived a little bit or that went into these cities, I'm sure this list doesn't surprise you at all. But just so that you know, Smart Africa, by assisting those different cities in the development of the national strategies on smart cities, we also did like a quick survey, a little bit like what WeGO did earlier during this forum when we were having or hosting workshops in those cities for the development of the national strategies. At Smart Africa, we started this initiative in 2017 with the launch, as the Director General of Smart Africa, Lassina Kone, said, the launch of the Smart Africa Smart Sustainable Cities Blueprint for Africa. So that happened in 2017, and ever since, what we've done is that we developed different national strategies in Rwanda, in Benin, in Ghana, in Tunisia, in Guinea, and we also developed several pilot projects. And also those strategies that come with a clear action plan that we call usually master plan, also has like a project that were developed by those cities and countries on their own or with Smart Africa. So this is an example of a pilot project that we've done just recently, which is Smart Waste Collection and Management Project in Rwanda. As you've seen in the top priorities of Rwanda, environment is really key. So they're really pushing there, especially in the city of Kigali, to be even cleaner than what they are already. So what you see on the left side here is the markets before the project, and what you see here is the same markets after the project. So you can see like the impact on the environment. This is all done with, of course, sensors that communicate via like an application that is at City Hall, and they can monitor the waste and manage like the waste in those different markets. The future of African city is, as we perceive it in the blueprint and at Smart Africa with our member states and heads of state, we want like the future African city to be connected. We want it to be green. We want it to be clean. We want it to be safe, resilient, and efficient. By efficient, we talk about services, digital services of good quality, fast, and also affordable. So you can see here that we put people at the center of this transformation. It's very important to us. We have initiatives of Smart Africa, such as the Smart Scholarship Fund, where we found like young students in African universities so that they become these smart people that will drive these cities. We have this picture also is to let you know that Africa is really a mobile continent. As you know, like more than half of the mobile money services in the world is happening in Africa. So this is something you take into consideration. And then you have here, of course, the different leaders. And this is because we believe in Smart Africa that not only you need a bottom to top approach, but most importantly, it needs to come also from the top, from the leadership. So all smart city domains are open for investment. You have smart city service domains such as city flows and city services, smart business services, smart city finances, smart education. And you have also what we call smart city flows domains such as smart transportation and mobility, smart water and waste water management, smart energy grids and building, smart air quality management. And of course, you can see here the correlation between these different domain services and flows and the top priorities that we identified earlier. Thank you very much. And over to you, William. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ralph. That was great. And we're glad you'll be sticking around for session 3 in the panel discussion, where we'll be picking your brain a little bit more. I'll now invite Dr. Najat Saruk, who currently serves as the Director of Development and the African Local Governments Academy of UCLG Africa. She has more than 39 years of experience in public administration and public governance. Thank you, Dr. Zaruk. Please take it away.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, or good night. I'm very honored to join you in this gathering, excellent and timely gathering, because
Dr. Zaruk, please make sure your camera is on so we can see you. We can hear you very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, William, and thank you for inviting UCLG Africa to be a part of this timely gathering. And I would like to have the authorization to share my screen, if it's possible, please.
Yes, you have it. Go ahead.
Are you seeing the screen now?
Yes, great.
Okay. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, honorable audience, I'm representing UCLG Africa. It's an African gathering of 51 national and regional association of local authorities covering the 5th region of Africa. And I made a small change in the title of my presentation just to share with you our initiative and the experience linked to the topic of this forum. It is moving towards a smart Pan-African organization, Local Africa Go Digital. And I will focus on, let's say, 4 main areas. The first one, our vision and mandate. UCLG Africa engaged and connected in times of COVID. The lessons learned, and I will finish with this new challenge and deal for UCLG Africa going digital. So our vision and mandate, and UCLG Africa is existing now since 20 years, more than 2 decades, based in the Kingdom of Morocco in Rabat. This vision and mandate is building Africa unity from its grassroots, with the conviction to leave no one, no place behind in local Africa, connecting people and institutions, promoting performance and professionalism at African local level, encouraging quality and standards of excellence, working in win-win partnerships, empowering human capital based on a diverse methodology where you fund advocacy, technical assistance, training, peer learning, capacity building, knowledge sharing, networking, and access to funding. In time of COVID, we start by organizing in-house and online coaching sessions because our members and networks and staff were not used to this context of the pandemic, using diverse platforms such as Zoom, Microsoft, social media, and moving progressively from face-to-face to online and blended activities. Several events were organized and still are organized until now, like our statutory meetings, our trainings, our forum, side events. We work to share information on all the online activities that we gathered on a daily basis. And finally, we make sure to participate to partners' online activities like the one we are here today. So the lessons, and you can see here, before the pandemic, all was face-to-face. And it's very important, by the way, even we have to mobilize the time, budget, etc. But this is our way of doing our activities before the pandemic. And since March 2020, you can see that all our activities are using these online platforms. Last week, we have organized and celebrated the UN Public Service Day, also in a virtual way. So the third point I would like to share with you is some lessons learned from this new context. First of all is the uncertainty that surrounds the post-COVID, how we can plan, how we can mobilize. Maybe training, learning, capacity building will not be among the priorities of government, local governments, international organizations, and donors. Our obligation and duty to stay connected in the global village. The digital gap divide is an obvious reality at African local level. With the online activities, we notice that we can do more with less in terms of financial resources and time consuming. We can reach more beneficiaries with reduced risk, travel constraints, challenge, cost, visa, baggage lost, language barriers, and we challenge borders, by the way. We fight and reduce bureaucracy, and we give the floor to the hidden figures, in particular at regional and local level. We need to advocate for an enabler environment and ecosystem for the digital based on solidarity, partnership, cooperation, knowledge, and experience sharing. There is a need for changing mindset. It was said in a previous participation. The political will is very key, and we are happy that the head of states are handling now this smart African cities. We always keep in mind that face-to-face activities provide a richer, human, more target and more focused learning experience that merely or any virtual meeting. We need to mobilize funding. It is not easy to go smart, and we need to learn from champions and build on best practices. This is why we are engaged now in a new challenge and deal for our organization, what we name Local Africa Go Digital. So in order to allow to UCLG Africa to adapt itself to this new challenging and unprecedented context, to stay at the service of its members and networks, to meet the global and Africa agenda, in particular the SDG 11, as mentioned by the Honorable Mayor of Gaborone, the SDG 16 and the SDG 17, to continue its activities and service offers to rebuild better and in a sustainable way. We decided to take advantage of the multiple opportunities offered by information and communication technologies and to go digital, to become, this is our dream, to become a smart Pan-African organization. So since September 2020, we have a new initiative. It's our UCLG E-Academy, and we have shared with WeGO a video that you can see later. We are designing a new portfolio for our members and networks, mainstreaming digital in the local leadership, in the local governance, infrastructure, administration, public service, and public service delivery. We work to empower human capital on the digital, and we are offering a new training capacity building offer where the digital will have a great and important place. And we are building partnerships at all levels, including with the WeGO, and we are ready to engage in this initiative for Africa. And I have proposed to WeGO that we have a memorandum of understanding, because we can encourage all our members. It's about more than 2,000 cities and regions in Africa who can benefit from your initiative. So here were some of our partners last year when we have organized our first seminar and webinar on the digital, and WeGO were with us among international organizations, local and regional cities, and civil society. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you this modest experience, for which we rely on all of you to make it a reality in our continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zarouk. We look forward to working with you in the future. Please help me to welcome Ms. Joyce Mavungo to the stage. Joyce Mavungo is a French-Congolese urban planner who is now serving as a city project officer at the AFSCN network. Joyce, please take it away.
Merci, merci William. Bonjour à tous. Alors, je vais faire la présentation en français. Déjà, merci au secrétariat de me donner l'opportunité de faire partie de la discussion et de faire partie de ce panel d'intervenants vraiment exceptionnels. Next. Next. Suivant. OK. Alors, qu'est-ce que AFSCN? Pour commencer, je vais vous montrer une vidéo qui est disponible sur YouTube pour vous présenter succinctement ce qu'est AFSCN. Next. Oui, on peut jouer la vidéo. You can play the video.
AFSCN is a network of 11 African cities that want to harness digital tools to address their local and global challenges. Our goal, to create sustainable and inclusive cities for our citizens. Our tools, sharing experiences, peer-to-peer learning, designing solutions rooted in the territories, and a results-oriented approach. Our methodology revolves around 3 stages spread over 2.5 years. Phase 1, Explore. From September 2019 to June 2020, the cities analyze their situation, the vision they would like to pursue, and who they need to work with. They are divided in 4 thematic groups. Mobility for Lagos, Niamey, and Kampala. Tax collection for Kumasi, Matola, and Bamako. Land management for Semepoji and Nouakchott. Citizen engagement for Kigali, Benguir, and Bizerte. Phase 2, engage local actors. Since July 2020, the cities have been working in partnership at local level to define their local action plan and share the knowledge they have acquired through networking. Phase 3, experiment. The cities begin to pilot their innovative projects, and learning from this process in turn informs their local action plans. Thanks to this project financed by the French Development Agency, managed by the National Agency for Urban Renewal, and inspired by URBACT, the European Cooperation Programme, AFSCN cities are strengthening their capacities to manage their territory digital transition in an inclusive and sustainable way.
Merci. Alors, sur la slide suivante. Next. On voit que AFSCN se base sur les principes fondamentaux suivants: la réciprocité, l'apprentissage par la pratique, la collaboration et la participation, l'ouverture d'esprit et l'esprit d'expérimentation, ainsi que la construction de relations. Next. Les 11 villes AFSCN ont été choisies à la suite d'un appel à candidature et on peut voir sur ce slide l'image des visites des villes qui ont eu lieu entre 2019 et 2020, durant donc la première phase du programme. Next. Nous en sommes actuellement donc à la phase 2 d'engagement depuis juillet 2020 et à cette phase se superpose la phase 3 d'expérimentation. Next. Comment ce réseau fonctionne? Next. La vie du réseau s'articule autour des domaines d'apprentissage, les groupes thématiques et les activités locales. Next. Les domaines d'apprentissage sont introduits chaque trimestre, ce qui alimente les activités locales avec une philosophie d'apprendre en faisant, en essayant des choses. Les différents exemples de domaines d'apprentissage ont été comment définir l'étendue du problème, la co-création, la gestion des données, se préparer à expérimenter, à tester les solutions. Les exemples d'activités locales, donc, ça a été la recherche préliminaire, le plan de communication, le plan d'action locale, les réunions du groupe local, les ateliers de concertation, de conception, etc. Tout ça en impliquant les citoyens et autres parties prenantes, comme les startups et les acteurs locaux du numérique. Les événements de mise en réseau durent tout le long du programme, en fin et en début de trimestre avec toutes les villes, ainsi que des réunions par groupe thématique avec des experts. Et malheureusement, en raison de la pandémie, la plupart de ces événements ont eu lieu en ligne. Next. Ce qui nous amène justement à nos défis et les solutions mises en place. Next. Ça a été, cette pandémie, un des plus grands défis pour le réseau, comme pour beaucoup, je le pense, mais cela a aussi permis de mettre en lumière la capacité d'adaptation et la résilience des villes du réseau. On a non seulement dû s'adapter aux diverses restrictions nous empêchant de nous rencontrer en personne, mais cela nous a aussi permis d'élargir notre spectre de réflexion en s'interrogeant sur le type de réponse qu'une Smart City peut donner. Cette réflexion a même mené à une série d'appels ouverts et à un document résumant les résumants, mais aussi confirmer le besoin d'une transition numérique durable pour permettre à tous les citoyens de toujours avoir accès aux services urbains, quelles que soient les circonstances. Les membres des groupes locaux Aston ont aussi justement pu augmenter leur performance et leurs compétences en termes d'utilisation d'outils numériques dans le cadre de leur travail, comme ça a été aussi mentionné à Gaborone par Monsieur le maire et aussi Dr. Zaouk. Next. Avec une approche each one teach one, nous suivons une logique de partage d'expériences entre pairs, techniciens et élus locaux, ce qui permet aux villes les plus avancées ou aux coordinateurs locaux les plus avancés sur un thème, une pratique, un domaine d'apprentissage ou une compétence de pouvoir inspirer les autres. Cela se passe par le partage d'expériences et de connaissances, le brainstorming, le benchmarking, l'évaluation entre pairs des différents livrables ou des solutions envisagées. On a l'exemple de Kampala ou Kigali, qui ont des services en ligne assez avancés, qui ont pu inspirer d'autres villes. On a des exemples de villes comme Lagos ou Kampala encore, qui savent très bien utiliser les outils de communication qu'on utilise au sein du réseau et qui ont pu, par exemple, faire des sessions de training auprès d'autres villes. On a des exemples de villes qui sont très avancées sur certaines thématiques, comme les questions de collaboration, de co-construction, d'implication de la population, de la société civile et des citoyens, comme à Nouakchott ou à Ben Guérir, et donc qui ont pu aussi montrer, par exemple, des différents process et différentes approches qu'ils mettent en place. Des villes très avancées en termes de communication, comme Kampala ou Matola, ou encore sur la contractualisation avec des experts, comme Ben Guérir. Et en termes de synergie et de durabilité, les villes explorent les possibilités de développer un système de jumelage, par exemple, pour la suite, d'échanges universitaires, entraînant de fait une pérennité du réseau au-delà même de la portée des 2 ans de notre programme, aussi de développer une base de données partagée. En parallèle et à l'initiative des villes, une dynamique de réflexion sur l'avenir du réseau est née, Future of Aston. Ça a vu le jour. Et donc, tous ces échanges d'expériences se font de manière formelle durant les réunions qui sont préparées, mais aussi de manière plus spontanée. Et on essaye toujours d'en garder une trace pour qu'il y ait une portée au-delà même du réseau et pour être aussi un modèle pour d'autres villes à l'avenir. Next. Collecter les bonnes pratiques, les capitaliser et les raconter, c'est aussi ce qu'on essaye de faire pour inspirer, pour avoir une trace de ce qu'on fait, pour que les villes puissent avoir une trace de ce qu'elles font et de comment elles avancent, mais pour aussi peut-être être un modèle et inspirer d'autres villes en dehors du réseau. Et donc, nos études de référence sont disponibles sur notre site, mais aussi des articles blog sur le réseau Medium. Et tout est disponible sur notre site et on fait différents événements aussi en ligne. Next. Voilà, je voulais juste vous remercier.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We now move to our final presentation for this session, which comes from Mr. Constant Cap, Senior Product Manager for Code for Africa's Census Africa. Please take it away, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, William, and good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Constant Cap. I'm an urban planning researcher and also the Senior Product Manager at Code for Africa running the Census Africa program. Next. So why do we have cities, okay? And you know, it's a very interesting question that we've got very dynamic cities on the continent. But one key thing, you know, is we have to know where our priorities lie within our African cities. And I put the words there, live, work, and play. Because many times I put them in that order. putting live first, work and then play, because we have to think about what kind of lifestyles are people living on our cities. Many times we are quick to talk about invest, work and live in that order, but without human beings, the city does not exist. The city has to first take the human aspect, think about people, and be taking into consideration citizen-led initiatives. If we have good citizen-led initiatives, we can create places that people can live. We can connect people. We can connect people to work, to do business, to interact, and we can activate spaces. And through these spaces, people can play, people can get a proper mental mindset, and people can be able to live long and healthy lives. This is all done through creating livable environments. Next. As has been mentioned already, there are very unique characteristics that come with our African cities. We have already talked about how they are growing both spatially and demographically at a tremendous rate. We have rising and visible inequalities, as you can see from the image on the right of your screen. You know, an informal settlement right next to a luxurious golf club. African cities also face challenges of services, both basic services from water, garbage collection, solid waste, and solid waste management, roads and accessibility, public transport, etc. Extensive informality, a very unique characteristic in African cities compared to other parts of the world. Africa has informality in almost every sector, from transport to trade to even education. And it's kind of linked to my point number 5, which is innovation and adaptation, because people have that resilience to innovate and adapt to circumstances. You don't have a good public transport system, you adapt by developing an informal transport system. We've seen the motorcycle taxis that are extensively used. We've seen the minibus taxis that are extensively used. We've seen also a lot of innovation in the area of use of mobile money, in the area of water taxi and collection stations. Okay. Unfortunately or fortunately, we also have a lot of donor and development partner influence. Sometimes this can be good and does help, especially vulnerable groups, but at times it also ends up not taking into priority the needs, urgent needs and requirements of a growing population. And one big strength is we have a very youthful population on the continent. Next. So for a city to be smart, as I said, it has to be livable. The two images there, livable. The two images there show you, before and after, the same place. That's in a low-income neighborhood in Nairobi. And there has to be that sense of ownership, because here we are also talking about citizen-led, the importance of citizen-driven initiatives in our cities. Next. In urban areas, if we want to take a participatory approach, we have to know about what we call the 4 genomas of urban development. Economic efficiency is extremely important, but it tends to prioritize investment to have financial output. At the same time, social equity comes and at times may clash with this economic efficiency, because in social equity, we're talking of dispersion of goods to the population. How are we helping the more vulnerable? Whereas with economic efficiency, how are we helping increase the GDP? That's the importance of having governance that can make decisions and to create that balance between achieving economic efficiency for both the city, the country, and for all, and also ensuring that we have that social equity, especially for the more vulnerable groups, be it for the poor, for persons with disability, etc. And all this has an impact on the physical environment. Okay, how are we going to prioritize wider highways or creating adaptive informal markets? Are we going to prioritize social housing, or are we going to leave out the sector to foreign investors who want to return as much of their investment as possible? So that balance comes through good and proper governance. Next. But it is extremely important that we remember that social justice is critical and a key aspect. And we must think about how we're going to have just cities where people are treated with dignity, through where human beings are given value and respect. We have a lot of, for example, in informal traders who end up getting in a lot of trouble, with their goods confiscated, being punished for going about their day-to-day activities. Where cities where we can take equity and diversity, okay, not, we've talked about not leaving anyone behind earlier on. That falls in very well over here, where rights and responsibilities are observed and recognized. Okay? Not, letting everything happen in the name of equity. No, rules do exist, guidelines do exist, where we can actually follow, planning procedures for the benefit of all. And very important, where we can have democratic systems. Democratic systems meaning we can have everybody being able to participate for the betterment of the city, where people can share their challenges, where people can speak out about what they're facing. Next. I'm going to give 4 case studies of engagements that are happening on the continent, most of them in East Africa, just to show you how we can have citizen-led initiatives. First is Census Africa. If you go to the website Census Africa, you'll come across, a very nice map showing you where various sensors have been deployed. And here we are talking of an organization, a unit of Code for Africa, that develops and deploys environmental sensors in different parts of the continent. And why does it do this? It does this, to engage with communities in helping them solve some of the major challenges they have. Good examples have been in Nairobi, where they have deployed sensors to analyze the effect of poor urban planning and its impact on bad air pollution in places where factories have been built next to residential areas. And through this, Census Africa has been able to work with journalist groups to share data-driven stories, leading to impact and action being taken by some of the authorities. Next. Another interesting example here is the use of participatory mapping and other creative methods. This is a study an example of some kind of studies that have been done in Nairobi, where people are asked to share some of their experiences in the city. And these experiences, for example, in the image you can see there, people have been asked, where do you feel comfortable in your neighborhood, and where do you feel discomfort? Or where do you feel insecure, and where do you feel secure? And through that, people have been able, the data has been able to be put on GIS, and this is used, for decision making, for planning, and shared with public authorities, and used to drive the direction in which the city takes. Next. The third case study is the digital Matatu map that maybe many of you have come across. If you look at the map, it looks like a typical subway map from a European city, but no, this is a map of the minibus taxis that operate in Nairobi. Initially, the map was developed using students who went around tracking all the routes using GPS, tracking the routes of the public transport. And after 3 years, a workshop was held with some of the public sector, public service drivers, the minibus taxi drivers, and they were able to show, and the map was able to be updated, and they were able to show places where there are new roads and how they've adapted, which links a lot with what we had talked about earlier on. There's a lot of quick adaptation on the continent to urban challenges. So whereas we have this informal transport sector, the informal, so-called informal transport sector also knows how to adapt to the formality in order to meet the needs of the people. Next, and maybe I can add, that map has also been used a lot by researchers and people advocating for change. Next. Now, this is something new, the fourth case study that's coming up on the African continent, and these are pre-planned cities. Cities generally on the outskirts of the town that are master planned with the intention of having almost what you can say, perfect communities. And here I've given two examples. The one on your left is Tatu City, a private initiative in Kenya, and the one on your right is Konza Techno City, an artist impression of Konza Techno City, which is a government-led project in Kenya. And well, these kind of cities bring about mixed reactions. First, because many times, people wonder how much integration is there going to be in some of these cities. Is there going to be enough integration with local communities, with the reality of the diversity of our African cities, and what is the long-term impact of some of these pre-planning that is being done? But we wait to see how this will turn up. I know, for example, the case of Tatu City has ended up adapting a lot as an industrial hub more than anything else, because Nairobi's industrial area has very little room for expansion. But we wait to see, because we also know there are some like this planned in Nigeria and other parts of the continent. Next. And the final question, I would like to ask us, are we ready for the development of metropolitan areas and the metropolis in Africa? Many of our cities are going to grow at tremendous rates. We tend to define the metropolitan area as the city and its close environments that surround it. And we've seen in many of our cities have now gone beyond their borders. And we need to be ready to integrate, to plan those, to have a way in which we can adapt planning such that the entire metropolitan area is taken into consideration. This requires different jurisdictions to start working together. For some, for example, they may need to capitalize on economies of scale, like in public transport. Different districts, surrounding districts working together with the main segment. For example, you may have a situation where surrounding cities can come together for overall disposal, but collection is still done at the local level. So it's important as we move towards our cities move towards metropolises, we know where to have our scale. What are we going to do at regional scale? What are we going to do at a local scale? And how do we not keep the participation and involvement of the ordinary citizen, of the ordinary person, to ensure that he has a livable and healthy environment? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cap, for the great presentation. So many great points have been brought up through these 4 presentations. And now I invite all the speakers to turn on their cameras, and we will just have a brief panel discussion where we'll touch on a few of the items that were brought up and some questions that have been shared by the audience for today. So joining our panel discussion, in addition, I'd like to welcome Ms. Abiodun Esiet, who is the special advisor to the chairman of the Abuja Municipal Area Council and also serves as our director at the WeGO Africa Regional Office. Welcome, Ms. Esiet. First up, I'd like to ask Dr. Ralph, focusing on digital transformation. On the list of top 20 African countries on the UN e-government survey, many are so-called lower income countries. These countries such as Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda tend to outperform their wealthier counterparts on the online service index. What is it that these countries are doing to improve their digital public service delivery, and what can other countries learn from them?
Thank you, William, for the question. I think this is a very good question, and I'm gonna answer it with maybe 3 main points, if you allow me. The first point, I would say it's mindset. That's the first point. You need digital transformation is about mindset, a revolution of the mindset, and it starts from the top. Talking about Africa, African economies are generally traditional economies. What we call traditional economies are economies that are based on natural resources. Well, now what we observe now is that we observe a lot of our leaders that understand that this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable to just sell the manganese or the oil or the timber without transforming it locally and adding value. Yes, so now what they do is like they're doing everything to transform the traditional economies into what we call as Smart Africa knowledge-based economies. And knowledge-based economies, this is where we talk about this fourth industrial revolution. This is where smart cities come into play, because now like the natural resource is really the human being, right? Because knowledge-based economies is about like transforming the mindset, like educating the populations, developing experts, bringing science and technologies to add value to all processes, to make them efficient, to make them better quality, to make them faster. And it starts with the citizens. So this is the big difference between like some countries and others, right? Because like there is this shift of mindset, and this is a transition that Africa is going through. Some countries are further down into the transition than others, but the transition is happening. So this is the point number one. The point number two is we have to make sure that we develop those products based on local context, right? I don't see most cities in Africa being Manhattan, for example, right? Just to give you an example, we have to stay true to ourselves. We have to develop our cities with our local realities. For example, during my presentation, I mentioned mobile money. Mobile money is something specific to the African continent. And what we observe here, if I take Kigali as an example, during COVID-19, the number one solution that was used to fight against COVID-19 was digital payment services through mobile money. We observed like a rise of 450% when it comes to mobile money transactions, 450% when you compare it before COVID and after COVID. This is something only happening on the African continent. This is what I meant by being true to ourselves, to our local realities. This is the second point. And this is the difference between some countries, because some countries do it better than others. They address the local needs first. The third point maybe that I would bring here is most definitely research and development and capacity building overall. I think, I think this is something important in Africa. We're not doing enough research. And when it comes to smart cities, we all understand that innovation is key into all those smart city solutions, and innovation comes from research and development. If you're not doing research and development on the ground, well, it comes from somewhere else, and those solutions most of the time that come to Africa are not adapted. As I say all the time, people sometimes believe that in Africa, the challenge is the uptake of services, those type of things, but I don't think so. I think the uptake of services depend on the solutions responding to a local need. And unfortunately, we don't have enough African experts working on smart city solutions and technologies.
Thank you very much. The next question is for Dr. Zarouk, and it says, how can we strengthen citizen participation in the design, implementation, and decision-making around solutions for urban challenges?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Allow me to reply to this question in French, please, because it's really reminding me a lot of experience I have, and I used to work with the UN as experts on public administration for 8 years, and we have worked a lot on citizen engagement. Alors pour moi, la participation des citoyens, c'est d'abord qu'ils accordent leur voix aux leaders qui vont se mettre à leur service. Nous avons un sérieux problème en Afrique par rapport aux élections. Comment on fait en sorte, lorsqu'on organise des élections, pas uniquement au niveau local et régional, mais à tous les niveaux de gouvernance, que les citoyens accordent leur voix à des leaders qui vont les servir et qui ne vont pas se servir ni les asservir. Ça, c'est le premier palier qui conditionne tout le reste. Avoir des approches inclusives et participatives, ce qui suppose l'accès à l'information en temps utile et l'accès à une information qui est mise à jour, qui est valable, qui sert les intérêts des citoyens. La participation des citoyens dans le processus de prise de décision, depuis l'identification des besoins dans des diagnostics participatifs jusqu'à la mise en œuvre, le suivi et l'évaluation. Il faut prendre le temps d'écouter les citoyens. Qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent au juste? Quels sont leurs besoins? Quelles sont leurs priorités? Quelles sont leurs attentes? Peut-être qu'ils ne veulent pas la route, mais qu'ils veulent l'hôpital. Qu'ils ne veulent pas l'hôpital, qu'ils veulent l'eau. Cette partie-là, dans la prise de décision, est souvent très faible dans nos administrations. Il faut également rendre le Leaving No One Behind à une réalité, en impliquant les femmes, les jeunes, les personnes qui vivent un handicap, les personnes vulnérables, les personnes qui vivent dans les habitats insalubres ou qui vivent du secteur informel. Et il faut adopter des outils, des méthodologies. Aujourd'hui, il y a beaucoup de choses qui se font, sauf qu'il faut les mettre à la disposition des autorités locales et des collectivités locales. Il y a le budget citoyen. On a une expérience ici au Maroc et elle existe également au Liban. Il y a le budget participatif, qui est vraiment un outil qui permet aux citoyens de voir le budget qui est mis en place, à quoi il va servir, et ils peuvent assurer le suivi de la mise en œuvre de ce budget. Il y a la budgétisation sensible au genre également. Et enfin, nous avons à CGLUE Afrique un autre outil qu'on appelle le coaching territorial, qui permet vraiment à un élu local de travailler sur son territoire, de réaliser sa vision, mais avec l'implication de tous les acteurs et les parties prenantes. Et enfin, il faut investir, comme disait monsieur le représentant de Smart Africa, investir dans l'éducation et l'autonomisation des communautés, des citoyens, des jeunes, des femmes, des minorités, pour qu'ils sachent au moment des élections comment utiliser leur voix, et ils sachent, lorsqu'on appelle à leur implication, comment s'impliquer dans les projets qui les concernent. Voilà, j'espère avoir répondu à cette question. Merci.
Thank you very much for your answer. I now invite Ms. Joyce Mavungu. Your question is, as you've been working with your cities, especially on the experimentation phase of your program, what are some, how are cities ensuring that they build in the idea of sustainability into their projects?
Thank you for the question, William. One of the learning areas of our network was the co-creation, the idea of collaboration with different stakeholders. This is something the different local teams have really applied on their work. Innovation, co-design, sustainability are the very cornerstone of the network. And we have been working with other agencies, for example, the Semi-City Development Agency. We've worked with them on one of our network events, and they use this analogy of the village 2.0. As African villages are organized around a way of living all together. And for example, in areas of interest to AFSCN cities such as tax management, making mobility safer, improving road traffic communication with users and citizens and citizen participation, a large number of stakeholders is required. So that's how this African villages analogy is used. It's not only a question of involving various stakeholders from the local political decision maker to the beneficiaries, funding agencies, communication and evaluation bodies, but also ensuring that each of them fully understand their role and that each takes full ownership of their responsibilities in the co-design of projects and that they are involved from beginning to the end. So this is something that is very at the core of our work with the cities in our network, and we can see that they are integrating these approaches more and more in everything that they do. As I mentioned earlier, for example, the city of Bengueria in Morocco, or the city of Nouakchott, they are like growing links with either their local universities, for example, Mohamed VI in Bengueria, or their civil society. They have focus groups with citizens. They have other focus groups with the startups. For example, in Bamako, they do workshops with the incubators. And it's something that is very growing. And also the idea that that some expertise is already there. They used to, some of the cities, they used to reach out to international experts, but they've realized that locally they have experts that are very good, that know a lot about the local context. And this is something that is also very important for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cap, you shared a couple of case studies in your presentation. What are some of the characteristics of the projects you've seen other than these that make them successful, especially in the African context?
One of the most interesting things of many, at least the case studies I gave, is the level of activity that citizens have, the level to which citizens have gone out of their way to engage and drive for change, which shows, the importance of taking up participatory approaches, where you engulf yourself in the community and understand what their challenges and needs are. There are many examples on the African continent of projects that have been taken up brought up as solutions to challenges that the cities face, but have not solved any problems. I'm sure we are all aware of some slum upgrading projects where housing has been put up and it eventually ends up being taken up by the middle and upper classes. We have seen there's a big drive to adapt BRT systems, bus rapid transit systems in African cities. Not that BRT is bad, but if the approach is not taken well, if it's, the public sector, the public PSV, so you call them PSV in Kenya, the minibus and informal transit drivers are not, and conductors and owners are not taken into the system and adapted into the system, then we end up, with another white elephant project very easily. Another area we've seen, lack of enough participation is the development of municipal markets, where, somebody wakes up and, says we're going to have a market there, and he or she assumes that that is going to be a solution towards informal trade, without understanding, how the people live and work in African cities. And for some of these, talked of the examples that I gave, there has been that drive and ownership from the point of view of the residents. With Census Africa, residents go out of their way to collect this data on the air pollution, work with journalists, work with different civic groups, so as to ensure that the authorities can hear and take action, almost like shaming them in a way. We've also seen in East Africa a lot more active participation from residents associations, where they are now demanding and driving for better cities and better environments for themselves. So that aspect of participation and involvement, it helps you live that kind of empathy. When you do participatory mapping and you understand where women feel a bit insecure, where persons with disability find it difficult to walk or go to cross the road or to go to school, or where children don't find the environment that nice, that good, you're able to make good decisions for the city in that way.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to, Ms. Essiet has joined us now. Director Essiet, what does Abuja hope to gain from the Africa Smart Cities Network, and what knowledge and experience can your city contribute to the network?
Okay, thank you very much, Williams, and greetings to everybody from the African region. For us in Abuja, we hope to share from the knowledge and from other African cities on the case study of innovative interventions they've had in relation to smart cities agenda and see how we can partner with that. Also, we want to share our experience doing our ecosystem mapping in Abuja City on how to identify the key players within our ecosystem and how to synergize within the ecosystem to bring about our smart cities agenda. For us, our vision in the Abuja City is to use innovative digital technology to drive in our public service management in giving an efficient public services to our people, and also in a way of using technology to get rid of corruption. We know in African continent, corruption has been a major challenge for us in Africa, and we've seen how we can embrace digital innovation that can help us to get rid of corrupt practices within the government circle. So for us, we are so excited about this innovation, and we hope that we could be part of different intervention, also share knowledge concerning development within the local context and some of the challenges that big cities like Abuja and Lagos are facing, and how we're using our innovative ways to solve our challenges.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the questions that are coming from the audience. One final question will be the same for all the panelists, and please keep it very, very brief. It was a very simple question. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, what would you say is the key skill that Africa needs to invest in? Starting with you, Dr. Ralph. I'm referring to the human resource capabilities, yes.
Yes, a very, very good question. And maybe it will sound a very strange, my answer, but this is based on what we observe in our member states. And I would say cybersecurity. The reason why I'm saying this is because with the increase of digital transactions, digital payments, and all the government services, what we've seen also, and we're not talking enough about it, is that we've seen an increase in cyber attacks and very new forms of cyber attacks, such as like scam emails or those messages that pretend to be like government announcements just to scam and get your money. So cybersecurity is becoming a very, very key skill to have, especially for the citizens that are at the end and what we call the weakest link.
Thank you. Mr. Constant Cap, your response to that, to the same?
I believe we need to do what has been said here already, which is not leaving anybody behind. After the COVID pandemic, we've seen, how places that depend on tourism economies have come down. We already have a very, very high levels of poverty on the continent. We have people suffering, hungry, etc. We must not leave people behind. We have to ensure that our cities adhere to the principles of the just city: dignity, equity and diversity, rights and responsibility, democracy.
Thank you. Ms. Joyce Mavungu.
Thank you. For me, I would say that taking advantage of the existing opportunities is one of the key, because some solutions or some solutions are already there. We should just try to look more into it, try to rearrange them and to make them fit the different circumstances, not trying too much. For example, when we think about smart cities, some people, they see very big cities, very futurist cities, hyper connected cities, and sometimes smart cities in the context of Africa, it's something much more simple and something that we can work on all together.
Thank you. Dr. Zaruk.
First of all, I would suggest to invest more and more in ethics and the culture of public service, in good governance and efficient governance, with a focus on the services that are at the service of citizens and communities and private sector. And also to mainstream the digital for the leaders. I'm speaking about the local and regional levels, making sure that any leadership at local and regional level will have this digital among its vision, mission, and activities. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final word will go to Director Essiet on what is the key skill that you think we should focus on moving forward. Director Essiet.
Okay, please, can you come again, please?
Yes, I said the final word will go to you to answer the same question. What do you think is the key skill we need to focus on or invest in moving forward in Africa?
Williams, can you have the question again, please?
I was asking what are important skills that we African cities and local governments should focus on, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, thank you. For us, during the COVID-19, we had a lot of challenges about governance and seeing how we can disseminate information in an analog type. So we had to embrace digital innovation. So our focus more will be on e-governance in the area of public service delivery for local governance and seeing how we can embrace digital innovation and turning out some of our analog system into a smart digital world where we can be able to disseminate information, provide services in a smart way. So we will embrace e-governance more as one of the main criteria we needed. And also for health, we had health challenges, and we hope that, if we had telemedicine in place, we could be able to disseminate and provide more services to people and reach out to more people in different difficult situation or environment before getting them on ground for other services that need to be provided. So our focus more will be on e-governance system, seeing how we can turn our analog system into a digital world. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the panelists for your discussion. I see questions are coming in and we wish we could continue this conversation, but I know we've already gone over time, and apologies for that, but we thank you for sticking with us to this point. If I could just ask the panelists to put on your best face the camera, and we'll do a group photo screenshot in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much. I hope today's seminar has been valuable to all attendees by raising awareness and providing practical knowledge and insight on the potential benefits and sustainable cities for Africa. Do not hesitate to contact us further after this event to get in touch with us and about partnerships and to continue close collaboration. Regarding our future schedule of programs, WeGO is planning a second WeGO AFSCN Mayoral Conference later this year, and the General Assembly will be hosted in October 2021. We hope to see all of you there. A big thank you to all WeGO members, partners, friends. I want to also thank the Smart Africa Alliance, UCLG, Aston Network, Code for Africa, and then our WeGO Africa Regional Office for the big support today. And this is the last event in our Smart Cities Month. So a big thank you also to the staff in the Secretariat of WeGO for putting on a great event for our members. We look forward to seeing you soon, and do look out on our website for the recording and materials from this meeting. Thank you very much, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Congratulations, William.
Thank you, Dr. Zaro. Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Good job, William.
Félicitations.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Au revoir, au revoir. À bientôt.
Au revoir. À bientôt.
Au revoir. Bye.